Good after morning, folks. Mike Wells, your world explorer. Today we are at the St. Sebastian River Preserve State Park. Now, if you look here, you'll see there are 4 quadrants. We are in this quadrant right here at the Blue Trail. Now we'll go over to this map right here, and you can see we have parked, I believe, right there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through this Blue Trail a little bit this way. We're gonna go look for some blackberries. Now, I just parked my vehicle here and we're gonna walk across the road. It's just a dirt road, so nothing fancy. Now we can see wild hogs back here from time to time. We'll see deer. We'll see all kinds of things. Here's some live oaks. There are a few picnic tables there. But this place back here is beautiful in my opinion. Very nice. I'm not gonna do as much talking as I normally do, but I will fill you in on things when I see them. We'll just keep heading back. Now, I've been back here several times in the past. There are a lot more down trees now than ever before because we've had storms. Like if you look here, for instance, this here is a resin pine core. Now the tree started off really thick, but all the whitewood has rotted away. Now all that's left is the heartwood, and you can see it's kind of got a gemmy quality to it. Really pretty color, loaded with a turpentine resin. So, very fun fact to know about. We're gonna head back here even further. If you're wondering why that trunk of this palm is black, well, they do controlled burns. It's very beautiful back here. We have some majestic oaks up here. These are southern live oaks, I believe. They're loaded down with ferns and air plants and some bromeliad types, specifically the air plants and the what are they called? Orchids, indigenous orchids. Wow, this tree is really getting large. It's a nice, large, big, beautiful tree. My yard has a few trees that are bigger than this, but this one is definitely climbing up there. Now at this location, you can break off and go this way. Oh, there's a deer. Did you see that little deer? You can go that way, but right now we're not going to. We're going to stay on the main path. That was a little baby. It's rare that we see them. Looks like this path has been cleared out a bit, so It's a little more user friendly, if you will. Just so you know, my camera, I'm utilizing a gimbal setup now with this camera. So it stabilizes the shots. So we should be able to capture very smooth and clean shots going forward. I'm not going to have to struggle with this anymore. But this gimbal setup is really convenient, really nice to have, because you can just have very brisk, clean movements without the vibration of your walking traveling to the camera and causing your film to become jiggly and unpleasant. Beautiful over here. Look at the young Eliade pines right there. Very nice. It's good to see those because their parent trees have been burned and then they died. Here's a few large ones that haven't died yet. They still drop pine cones. These pine cones are useful with crafts and resin pouring and all that kind of stuff. And they're quite large too. Just give you an idea. There's my hand. So if you like pine cones, they're everywhere out here. Now look at the size of this tree, the girth of this pine tree. Not bad, huh? Now I know of some places where there were some living historic pines. You could tell that they were really, really old. But they had to fight for their space under the sun, so they had a lot of character. Unfortunately, because of the controlled burns, they've killed the ones that I've known about. Yeah, that upset me, but what can you do? What can you do? Now, it looks like they've been doing some controlled burns out here recently. So we're about to see some different type of scenery. Some of this looks not so bad, but for the most part, that fire just comes through here. It rages on the landscape, okay? And it tears up all the dry weed that's closer to the ground. Unfortunately, there are some casualties with these trees. So the resilient stuff will come back greener and better than ever. But the weaker stuff, it just dies off. It looks like we've got some resilient trees in here. That pine back there, him, and its neighbor. This area doesn't look so bad. I'm really not sure if those controlled burns are necessary, but what do I know? It's a little windy out today, just so you know. So don't be surprised if my microphone puts up a little bit of howling. So we're on the main Blue Trail right now, the very beginning of it actually. We're at the southeast quadrant of the St. Sebastian River Preserve. Now, I've switched my setting on this camera gimbal to half. So basically it'll follow the horizon. So I can move this thing all over the place and it'll still follow the horizon. It's really good technology. If you don't have a gimbal, I think they're $50. That's what I paid for this one. But they have, this one is a 3-axis gimbal, and it's really neat. Now it'll follow the horizon, but when I go to try to pan up a tree, it won't allow me. See that tree right there? So if I switch views, okay, and I go to all, it allows me to pan up the tree. So that's what I do. I like to stay on all. It's kind of nice out here. I won't deny it. It's cool out. This the aftermath of the burn is showing. It's given me some scenery opportunity here, which I really think is rare. But look, yeah, you'll probably see some specific flowers start to shoot out of the ground near this location, right up in here in these fields, because of the burns. And it's springtime, so when the rains really start to pour in, that's when you'll see a lot of greening happening, a lot of growth. These plants and trees and whatnot in this part of Florida really love the heat for some reason. But they love the humidity and the heat and a lot of water. But this is a really pretty location in my opinion. We're going to keep heading up here and then we'll take a right really soon. All right, the sun is starting to come back out. There are sparse clouds, so they're going to dampen out our sunshine from time to time. Folks, this place is beautiful. So this scene here, imagine this when it's fully greened out. It most likely looks way better than this. But like I say, this is a unique opportunity to come out and see this, the aftermath of a burn. So now we're going to go ahead and we got to find our location. I think we may have passed it. It's right there. So this is where we break from the Blue Trail. Now we're heading into an area that you can access by way of foot. Used to be you could access it by way of road, but the park management has shut off your access by way of road for whatever reason. I don't even know, but I really disagree with them doing that. You know, they're very tyrannical out here. You can't even take a piece of wood off the ground and take it home. Like, what's the sense of preserving these lands if you're not allowed to utilize their resources even slightly? It's not really equitable stake if you ask me, but it's like a greedy mentality on their part. But at least I get to come out and enjoy the lands. Now they took some sediment from a mine around here somewhere and dumped it here. Every now and again you will find black fossils in this sediment. And yeah, they're really cool to spot when you spot them. Not seeing any right now, but let's look up the way. Now this is the area where lots of blackberries have been known to grow wild, okay? Now I know they used to be extremely abundant out here, but your good old park management came out here and ran over huge patches of the blackberries all through this way, all down that way. And I think they might have destroyed the blackberry population by and large. They obliterated it. Now, you tell me if that's appropriate. I don't think it is. I think they killed off a lot of the food for the deer. So that was a very reckless thing of them to do. But hey, they did it. So I don't see any blackberries right now. I don't see a single bush. Let's walk over here and see if we can spot one. What's this guy right here? Is this a blackberry bush? No, it sure is not. We're gonna walk around and try to enjoy this pathway over here because I can hear some birds. And at some point we should run into some blackberries. At least I'm hopeful that we will. I haven't been out here to see about the blackberries in many years. Ooh. That's a cool looking air plant. Look at that one right there. Let's go this way. Now, if you want to learn something today, these cabbage palms here, or palmettos, they produce berries from these. If you look there, they produce berries out of those pods there. Now, the berries are used, to produce a treatment for some type of prostate cancer, I believe. Oh, look, we have some cacti here. Look at that. There's a little cactus coming up there. There's another one. Neato. Yeah. Now there's a bigger one right here. Look at this one. These are indigenous to this area. These are really cool. Really like to see these growing. They have an odd life cycle though. It's very unpredictable. Like they'll grow and they'll grow and they'll grow, and then all of a sudden they decide they want to die. And then all the stuff that falls to the ground, you'll see babies come out of that stuff. Just a really weird life cycle. Now we're gonna head up that way, but on a pronounced trail. I believe it's right here. We are not going this way today, even though it's probably a pretty cool place. I haven't been there in years. And this trail here looks like it's been abandoned or allowed to overgrow. So I'm not sure what the plans are for this location. Okay, I just felt something on my shin that grabbed me. You know what it is? It's the blackberry bush. Okay? Now if you look here, these blackberry bushes, they have some ugly thorns all over the place. Look, you got some blackberries growing. Very cool. Back in the day, you used to be able to come out and just pick them left and right. They were all over the place. Billions of them. That's not the case today. Park services have wreaked havoc on the blackberry population. The park managers, they always take away good things. That's what I don't understand about them. I don't think they're for us. I think they're against us. But who knows? You'd have to ask them, but would they tell you the truth? I don't know. We're gonna keep walking till we get to our destination. It's not too much further up here, but we got this grass growing everywhere. You see this dry grass? That's what burns very rapidly when it's dry like it is and there's a lot of wind. So basically days like today, if there were a fire out here, this would get burned up pretty quick. Kind of looks neat if you ask me. I'm gonna go ahead and skip on up there. As I'm skipping along, I found some more blackberries growing. So if you come out here, you got to be real careful not to brush your shins and your legs up against these blackberry bushes, because they will shred and rip at you. It's very painful. Okay, we are now up to where we wanted to be. That path back there has not been maintained at all. Neither has any of this, so I might try to find an alternate route back. But you can see there are nature trails through here where it's more than likely the hogs and the deer that travel these paths and keep them somewhat beaten down. But I'm just going to break over here. It's very interesting. We should be coming up to our location any minute. Maybe it's over there I gotta get. Let's go look. Now here's a nice little setup of blackberries, and you see here we have some flowers. They're white blackberry flowers. See? And then from the blackberry flower comes the fruit. There it is. Lots of fruit everywhere. So yeah, they still exist back here. They haven't completely annihilated the blackberry. So I'm gonna break away through here. I am gonna watch my shins though. I really don't recognize this area, so we will explore it together. Where are we? They got some old blackberry bushes that died that really love to grab onto me. If you look, it's just a mottled mess of thorns. When those grab you, you know. They grab everything. Let's see, where are we? We can sneak through here. I see something moving over there. I don't know if you can see it. Probably just some tree branches in the wind. Let's go investigate. I'm gonna sneak through, maybe this way. I see some really nasty thorns over here, so I'm gonna have to avoid those. So we'll go back this way. Let's go here. You don't ever have to do what I'm doing. I am definitely off of the beaten path. At least what I originally knew was the beaten path. Oh. Wow. So this is what I knew to be the Blackberry Haven. It's I'll show you what has happened. This whole area used to be blackberries, but look, they're all dead after they ran them over with that huge machine. And it was like, looks like a tiller is what it looked like. I don't know what they were trying to accomplish, but all dead blackberries, and there were countless blackberries back here. Countless. They did that several years ago. So hopefully the patch, the huge blackberry patch, comes back, because it extended literally all the way from that pine tree in the distance to here. So let's go see if there's any sign of that blackberry patch coming back. Now I'm on what is perceivably the new path, because I'm not used to walking on this side of the trees, so this might be the new path. I don't know, but we're gonna take it because it's a little more clear than that previous path. Look at that. You know what that means. Something's been eating the lower branches off of this tree. I don't know what it could be. Maybe deer? Not seeing any blackberries. So up here is where the parking space used to be for this area. They definitely have not maintained it. So over the years, the hogs, they root, they dig for grubs and stuff, and they leave the land scarred like this, and all lumpy and knotted and filled with, you know, unevenness. So it's kind of hard to travel through the lands when they are like that. So let's take a look here. Where are we? Wow, we're pretty close to the beginning, so no wonder we're gonna have to travel up that way. That's crazy. Let's do it. So this location is, I had my bearings all wrong. This location, we actually got to keep going along this way before we see where the blackberries used to exist. Okay, now I see. Now I see. Here we are, folks. Turns out the blackberries are coming back. Look at all the blackberries. Look at all the blackberries. Countless amounts of blackberries all throughout this location. So they're not ready to harvest. Let's go up this way. They're not ready for eating or picking yet, but look. Blackberries everywhere you can look right now. So we'll go ahead and I'll show you the swath of blackberries. Huge patch. So it looks like they are definitely coming back, folks. Really good. So here I am, really upset with park management and thinking that they destroyed this amazing resource on these lands, and in fact I was wrong. See, that's why when I talk about what they're doing versus what I know, I just simply tell you I don't know. Now through here they thin out a little bit. Oh, look at that white-tailed deer. Look at them. Big white-tailed deer. So that's what we were seeing earlier. And I believe they will eat these blackberries. So that was cool. We just got to see some white-tailed deer. I don't know from this point if my camera picked it up all that well, but we're gonna find out when I go to do the editing. Now you see the blackberries are in there, but there's a vine. I don't know if that's a muscadine grape or some other invasive type of vine, but it smothered them out a little bit. Look in here. Look at all those blackberry bushes back there. Yeah, so the blackberry patch is still intact, thank God. Super cool. Look. See all the flowers coming? Blackberries. The white flowers. Very cool. And we're just gonna keep looking, see what we can find. This gimbal device, see how it helps keep a steady photo, a steady video? It's really useful. Now, okay, so the parking area is actually all the way up there. So my memory didn't serve me well for this experience, but holy smokes, look at all these blackberries. What? Look at all these blackberries. There are so many. Holy smokes. Okay, let's move along and see how many more blackberries we can spot. They even jumped, I believe they exist on that side of the road too. Yeah. So yeah, they're in here. Tons of flowers. Look at all the white flowers in there, folks. Large amount of blackberries on the way. So yeah, so you see they did take the machine and run big chunks of the blackberry patch over, but they didn't kill everything. I think they aimed to maybe thin it out, I'm not sure, so that the deer could get more access to the berries. Who knows? But look, this part of the patch is massive. Tons of blackberries. When the weather switches up though, some of this stuff, some of these weeds should be dying back and different weeds will come and take over. So that's a pretty strong part of the blackberry bushes. Let's look over here. You can see some over there. We're just gonna keep heading up. We're about that far away from that location we're going to, and we found a bunch more blackberries. So some of this is just grapevine, I think. I could be wrong about that, but that's what the leaves look like that are smothering those blackberries. So we're almost up there, but there's a whole bunch of blackberry patch right here. There's a nature trail right there, you can clearly tell. Look back there, huh? So yeah, that's the confusion earlier in my video of where I was, is because I wasn't at the right location. So all kinds of blackberry patch over here. Just a whole bunch. You can see it all. All the white flowers. Blackberries everywhere. Let's go up here, see what we got. All right, so here's the old abandoned parking spot. As you can tell, there used to be a sign here that says parking lot closes at sunset, but they still utilize this trail apparently. So this is the trail that I thought I was on, but I was not on it. I was on some earlier trail that I didn't know anything about. So it looks like they've been traveling this path quite often recently. So I wonder what's going on, but let's see if we can spot any wildlife, because those deer went out this way. Yeah, this is the area that I thought I was in. But yeah, whatever machine they used to cut this out here, that's what they used on the blackberry patches years ago, I guess, to thin them out. Ooh, nice oak forest right up ahead. Here's a little bit of a scene. It's kind of like a prairie, if you will. I haven't seen any sandhill cranes. Huh. This is probably where I should be heading back. Yeah, that is. This is where I'm supposed to turn. So I'm heading back in now. Let's see what we can spot down here. So there are, this is some type of a, I think this is a plum plant. Look at that lizard. He doesn't realize it, but I see him. See? He's just hanging out. Oh, look at these cacti. Wow. Look at that cactus flower. Here's the cactus. Beautiful. I think those are beetles. Very cool. There was a flower on that one too. Cool, so we're seeing the natural plum plants that are out here. And oak trees, blackberries, you name it. This plum turns yellow when it gets ripe. I don't see any of the fruit right now, but this might not be the right time of the year for them to be producing. Look at that pine tree, huh? It's got a little bit of character. So this is the time of year when the flies really become abundant. So they're kind of buzzing around me right now, making it a little unpleasant for me, but oh well. This trail is neat. I smell a lot of amazing smells back here. Like flowers and stuff. Ooh, look at the oak forest. Look at that, huh? There's an air plant way up there. Really big one. That is fancy. Without this gimbal, I wouldn't be able to get these steady shots. Anyone who knows or has watched my previous videos This is literally my second day of owning this gimbal, and my shots weren't nearly as good. I tried, but it's hard to keep a steady hand out here. Look at these. Look at all this moss. This is fantastic looking. This is Spanish moss, so it isn't invasive, but it just looks kind of cool. Look at all these beautiful red tips on these air plants. Look at the ball of seeds right there, that fuzziness. Just incredible. So much to see out here. This is cool. Let's keep looking around, see what we can find. Beautiful sceneries, beautiful environment. This is very pristine looking to me. This looks very nice. It's crazy too, because I can feel my body shaking from the walking, but the camera doesn't seem to be shaking at all. Look at this dwarfed oak. This thing looks so bushy and happy. So beautiful. Look how green it is. I have a few of these that I grabbed acorns from these and transplanted and put the dwarf oaks in my yard. You know, I sprouted the seeds, acorns, and now they're growing. They take a long time to grow, so I can imagine how old those are. Right there, dwarf oaks. They don't get any bigger than that. They stay very small, but beautiful, indigenous too. Look at this old pine tree that the pine core is left behind. You have to understand, this tree was probably 3 to 4 times the width of what you're looking at. All that white outer wood, it fell, rotted away. But that pine core, it's the turpentine in the resin keeps it from rotting. Keeps the bugs out, keeps everything away. Very, very good wood. Look at this oak. This oak's gotten quite nice. Wow. It's a decent looking oak. I really love it out here. This is a form of meditation for me. Granted, I'm trying to entertain you folks, but at the same time, I'm enjoying this. With the gimbal's doing all the work now, so on the camera, so I don't have to focus on the camera nearly as much. I can just pan around, and everywhere my body turns, the gimbal goes and follows. It's just very convenient. Very beautiful environment. And it's ever changing too. You'll never get the same views every time. They change just a little bit each year. Wow, it's so nice out here. That pine looks like it's struggling. Hopefully it comes back. This is one of those plum plants. Very nice out here. Look at that pine tree. Okay, so that pine tree is not too old, but you could tell it had to fight for its space under the sun to a degree because it has character. It bends and twists and turns. The branches do somewhat as well. So that's a unique pine tree. It could also be that a hurricane blew it over a little bit. So now it has this forever tilt, and now it's trying to compensate for that tilt and grow back upward. Ah, that poor pine right there is definitely dead. Sometimes they just don't survive. That one didn't even, it doesn't even look like it was burned or anything. Just might not be a good location for a pine tree. Look at the air plant up in there. See that? That's pretty cool, huh? That's so awesome. Got some more oaks in here. Okay, so this is cool. You want to see a giant air plant? What? This little bit of understory is fantastic. It's got a vine hanging down. It's got some good. It's got several pieces of the trunk. It's got little air plants jumping out all over the place. And it has this really huge air plant right there in the middle. Yeah, look at that thing. Giant air plant right there. Let me see if we can get some perspective. Okay, so something has been throwing seeds, but here's my hand, and there's the air plant. So now you know it's a big air plant. So these little guys over here, this is how they multiply so rapidly, as they throw out all these seeds from their seed pods. And the seeds get caught up in the wind, and then they land downstream of the wind. And then they just reproduce, and they just keep that cycle over and over and over again until you have a pretty extreme situation where there are air plants everywhere. I love it. The course of nature is just incredible. Wow, I am, where am I? Huh. This is a spot that I am not familiar with. So rather than go back on the original path, we should go back this way and see what we can find. Or not. That's just going to be standard protocol. So what we'll do is we'll keep heading back this way, because I think we're going to see more over here than we will over there. But if you want to come back here yourself and check that path out, you can. There are so many trails back here. You could travel this land for years and you'll never get bored. Florida has so much to see. Folks really don't understand. There's an old down oak tree. So this path hasn't been mowed in quite some time. who knows? I'm not sure if the park management has had budget cuts or what, but they have seemed to be downsizing on expenses over time. I see a lot less people working in the parks than I did 5-6 years ago. Wow, this tall, weedy grass again. These grasses that are this tall, their roots go about the same depth down as you see their little stalks going up. So these roots are an important part of the Florida environment and ecosystems for keeping the soil healthy. Yeah, they're probably trying to have nature reclaim this, so that's why it's not being mowed. But it's a little harder to travel through this than those previous paths. Plus, I'm seeing some blackberry bushes, and that's going to start messing with me. So I need to be extra careful going through here now. We'll go ahead and skip this part, and I'll meet you up there. All right, I'm up to the next location. We're just gonna travel through here. Sometimes being out in the bush can get a little mundane, if you will, because of the amount of crawl that you have to do just to get and travel through a little bit of land space. So we're at crawl speed right now, but we'll get through this and hopefully we'll see something else. I remember back in the day when I used to come out here, I used to see a lot, but the trail was maintained. So without a trail that is maintained, you'll still see things, but it's not going to be as quick to travel that same land space. I'm actually going to go ahead and break away and go through the creek spot. This looks like a trail, or at least an old trail. So we're on the other side of the trees now. So we'll just keep heading this way. Yeah, this is way better on my legs. So, what are we gonna find up here? Ah, I get it. See how the lower branches are all gnawed off, all the leaves. I feel like we've been here. Huh. Looks really cool, doesn't it? The deer have definitely been hanging out here. Wow. It smells so beautiful back here. There's just so much going on. So, we are back at our beginning phase. Wow. This has all changed so much back here. I actually have to get over there. So we've been to a part of this park that I've never been through. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut across this way. So we're looking at our famous white-tailed deer oak tree. Now we're just gonna keep heading this way. I'm just gonna cut across right through here. If you're ever at a loss for where you are, just look at you could go to Google Maps. Just look at where you are on Google Maps and that'll help you to get out of your situation way faster. I didn't look at Google Maps yet because I'm pretty sure I know where I am. And this is an exploration adventure. So we're just going to keep going. If we get lost, then that'll be kind of fun. But it's hard to get lost out here because your trails are completely surrounding this area. You just don't want to get hurt out here. And be, stuck. Yeah, there are some blackberry thorns all over here. So I'm trying to stay on the nature trail, and I'm having good luck with that. Now I'm at a second tree line. Really interesting. I'm going to cut through here. Oh, look at that. Wow. Look at this, folks. What kind of skull is that? It's got to be a baby pig. Oops. My gimbal is acting weird on me. Fancy, huh? That's crazy. Let me move it a little bit. See what the top side looks like. Maybe that's a deer skull. It might be a deer skull. I don't know. It's really tough to say, but that's crazy. We found one. Also, look at this resin core. This tree, this pine tree. You can tell something's been scuffing along this for a very long period of time. So they've been traveling in and out of this location. Very interesting. So we are going to go the way nature goes. Right through here. Very, very cool. Very interesting, this whole area. I'm just going to keep going this way. The thing about running off of the beaten path is you will find skulls, bones, antlers, you name it. You'll find all kinds of stuff. Now here's some more bones of something. Very interesting. Trying to figure out what that is. That's like a hip bone, I think. And this is a jaw bone. Probably another deer. Either that or it'd have to be a deer. Here's another piece. Right there. Not sure what it is, but there are some big teeth. Look at these teeth. Somewhere along the way, someone's gonna find these and be like, you know, panning in a river or something and be like, oh yeah, I found some prehistoric teeth. And it'll be just like Peace River. 10,000, 20,000 years from now when those get covered up by sediment and they harden over years, they get even harder. Here's another bone. Yeah, bones all over back here. I'm pretty sure the birds carry those bones all over. The vultures. Here's another bone. Interesting. Now I am getting closer to my destination. Very close. Everything's starting to look the way that I expected it to. Okay, so here is a pile of bones. Where you find one bone, you will find more. So this is undoubtedly undoubtedly I think a hog remnants. What's this? Those are nasty bones. Ooh. I don't see any skull. I see this. Look at that. There's some evidence. That's hog hair. No question. It's not eagle hair. Eagles don't have hair. It's not a horse. These bones are too small to be a horse. It's not deer. These deer around here don't have that kind of black, bristly hair. Look at that. More bones. This is like a crime scene practically, but for animals. I see bones everywhere here. Look at this. You got backbones. You got spinal columns. You got all kinds of bones, man. Only thing I haven't seen is the skull to this creature yet. There's just bones everywhere. All right. What lie over here? Bunch of weird bones. Bunch of bones over there. Yeah, this is just the circle of life playing out. Look at this. Huge pile of bones. I wonder what's going on here. Why these bones are all scattered so heavily. Look at this. This looks like deer bones. Those rib cage bones, those are definitely deer bones. See these rib bones? Those are to a deer. More bones. This is a crazy situation over here. Let's look over here. I'm starting to see more bones. Wow, there are just bones. It's just a boneyard, folks. Just bones everywhere. Look. There are some more bones. See that? Jaw bones at that. I'm getting lost in bones. Look at all these bones. Just bones everywhere. I'm trying to find. That looks like the lower mandible of a deer. There's a blade. Just bones everywhere. So this is why I like to get out and explore. You never know what you're gonna find. I'm a little perplexed right now as to what has caused there to be this many dead animals in this one location. Okay? So as an investigator, this is a lower mandible to a hog. Look, that's how you know. They gore you with those teeth right there. They will cut you bad. Just that one tooth sticking out. It'll mess up your whole world. But it's really interesting to me that there are so many bones and so many skulls, lower mandibles in one location at the same time. I'm not understanding why. Is this just a dumping ground for something? Or is there a predator in the area? Look at this, a fully intact lower mandible to a hog. And you'll see the teeth that stick out on the bottom over here. Those are what mess you up. That's crazy. I'm finding all these hog teeth, all these hog jaws. So I'm thinking park people might be doing this. I don't know. Who knows? But I know they don't want they don't want the hogs living on these lands. They're an invasive. So it could be them. And then the vultures come out and just completely annihilate and dismember the hogs. So we've discovered some hog bodies, if you will. Beautiful scene this way. I should have traveled that way, but today we gotta get back, folks. I could go this way, or, which is the blue trail is right over there, or I could just head this way and reconnect with the blue trail. So I think I'm just gonna keep heading this way. This has been quite the experience though. Let me go this way. But yeah, you just never know what you're gonna find out in the woods. Wow, we've completely cut through the entirety of the park and made it back to the main trail, the actual road itself. So that's what happens when you trot off the beaten path. You really do get off of the beaten path, folks. It's a good thing it's not wet out, because I wouldn't be able to cross this. It would be full of water. So our vehicle is up here on the left. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That helps the channel grow. And stay tuned, because I got a lot more to show you out in these woods, on these lands. Have a great day.